The 3D features in Illustrator were instrumental in the creation of a lot of the elements here in Times Square. I'm going to zoom in on this little area right in here. This is the low-res version, so I do have that section of the high-res version open in the background. And we see it right here. And there we see that there's this little Snapple bottle, which in reality is a giant Snapple bottle, but in the context of the painting, it's very small. If I bring up my rulers, you'll see that here is an inch. So this bottle is basically about 1/4 of an inch in size in the context of the overall painting. Like I said, it was done in Illustrator. Now the first thing I have to do is I'm going to import the label. I created the label in Photoshop. Now I didn't get into a tremendous amount of detail because again, it's so tiny, you're not going to see a lot of the detail. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to place that label. So right here in my working files in Up Broadway, and I got the Snapple building, and there's the label right there on top. So I'm going to say place it. And right off the bat, I'm going to make it a little smaller. Click OK. And what I need to do now is that this is a linked object, so I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say rasterize it. And that way, I have my symbols panel open here. I can now drag it into my symbols panel, and we'll call it label. And I want it to be a graphic. Click OK, and there it is. So now back in the image, I can throw it away. So I'm going to pull out a guide for myself right here, and I want to make sure that my guides are locked. Yes, they are. They're locked. So now I'm going to create the bottle. So I'm going to go in here and start right up at the top here and click right on the guide and pull out a little area there that's going to be the cap. And I'll come down here and create the whole little cap area just like that. And then there's this little part where the bottle juts out just a little bit, a little lip on it. And then I've got this curve right here that kind of looks like that. And then it curves around this way and comes down here. Make a little curve right there and end it back on the guide right there. So there's my basic shape for my bottle, which I'm now going to give it a color. So I've got my stroke selected and I'll say, give it a nice brown color. That's the color I want it to be. Now that I've got this, I'm going to select all the points and I'm going to come up to my effects and say 3D revolve. And 3D revolve, I can kind of preview this right off the bat. And you can see that it's doing it from the left edge, which is the default. So I'm going to say, do it from the right edge. There's my little Snapple bottle. So now if it's not quite right, I can easily go in there and make adjustments at any time, but it's not necessary. We'll just leave it the way it is. It's a little thin. It's okay. It's a new bottle, it will say. Now that I have this, I can go in there and play with it, get it to any angle that I want, and so on. And it's going to go in there and refresh it. And here I have a button called Map Art. I'm going to click on Map Art. Now, this is going to show me various parts of my bottle, which right now it's taking up 13 different parts to make up my bottle. And the part that is displayed will be displayed in the image by a little red area. If I move over there, you can see there's that little lip on top, and I come again, there's a top, and there's the upper portion of the bottle. Keep going down, there's this little area there, and then there's the inside. I think that's the inside of the bottle based on its positioning. There's the bottom portion. Then go back. There's a little top again. And there's the outside of the bottle. See, I can tell it's much wider. So in the outside part of the bottle, I'm going to grab the label right there. I click on the label and the little symbols up there, and there's the position. And we can see the label just appeared. I'm going to move the position right over to about here, and we'll just make it a little bigger. We can resize it right within inside this window here. I'm just going to make it much wider so it takes up that entire area. There you can see that it's filling up the bottle now. And when I click OK, we see that the bottle now has the label wrapped around it. So if I was to view this from, say, another side like this, we'll see that we'll have our little label right there in front. So when I click OK, we have a Snapple bottle that I then imported into Photoshop and put it in position as we see it back here right there.